Assassin's Creed Infinity is an upcoming live service release from Ubisoft that will encompass many different Assassin's Creed games going ahead in the future. The live service will be starting with Assassin's Creed Codename Red and Assassin's Creed Codename Hexe. And of course, there will most likely be many games coming in the future for this live service. Now, in this video, I want to give you guys my thoughts similarly in the way that I did with AC Codename Red and AC Hexe, where basically I just give my raw, emotional, and realistic thoughts on what this is going to be. Will it be good? In which way will it be executed? And stuff like that. So by the end of this video, you guys will hopefully have a better understanding of what this is going to be and how it could be done. So by the end of this video, if you do enjoy this video, feel free to press that subscribe button, but wait to the end of this video so you know whether you want to do so or not. Let's get into this video. So I'm fairly conflicted so far on the idea of Assassin's Creed Infinity. It's a live service. It's going to be very similar with what we saw in Unity. Of course, that was a fictional sort of live service selection of games you could access at the beginning of Unity. It was Abstergo's game console type thing where you can choose different stories. I do think AC Infinity is going to be very similar to that, but of course real. I think Infinity is going to be a launcher of kinds, just like launchers we already have today, but I think it's going to be a lot more than that. I think you will open up AC Infinity as if you're opening up a actual video game, and then very similar to how AC Valhalla's, for example, microtransaction store is, it will have this store where it shows all these different Ubisoft originals, as they call it for some reason. Codename Red, obviously, will have its own name when it comes out, but Codename Red, a Ubisoft original, go to feudal Japan. And then next to it on the storefront, you will have Codename Hexe. Again, it will have its own name when it comes out, but for now, Codename Hexe, a horror survival game where you can play as an assassin getting hunted by the Templars, blah, blah, blah. And then there'll be another game, perhaps like you're playing in Russia in a long time ago. And then maybe there's even a modern day Assassins one, and you can select all these different types of Assassin's Creed stories. Of course, you're going to have to pay for them, but then they download. You select them from the main menu of Assassin's Creed Infinity. Now, you might say, well, what's the point of that when I could just download the game from the PlayStation Store, from the Xbox Store, from Steam or Ubisoft Connect, what they already have? Well, as I said, I think it's going to be a lot more than just a launcher. Of course, it's going to be themed around being inside the Animus or being in some sort of Animus technology. So things are going to be glitching out. It's going to have a cool aesthetic, basically. But I think different artifacts or documents or things in general you can come across within each individual game will then display in the Infinity service, because like you're looking at it in the Animus, basically. So for example, you're in Codename Red, you're exploring around feudal Japan, and you come across some sort of Animus glitch. It's on a wall, very similar to how the truth was in Assassin's Creed 2. You access this and you get something new that you can now check out within the Assassin's Creed Infinity live service. And perhaps you can seamlessly go between the live service and all of the games in the live service at will. So you head back to the Infinity live service selection menu and you go into Animus database and you look for what you've just found within Codename Red. You read some stuff, you learn some stuff, maybe you do a little mini game like you did in the older Assassin's Creed games, and then you can head back into Codename Red to continue explorations. Or you're like, actually, this coincides with something I also played in Hexe. So you jump into AC Hexe seamlessly and you look at this hint you found there and you think, oh, these are actually connected somehow, and maybe that is the way they connect things, the way they make things seamless. Now, I don't know if that's the way it's going to work, but I think speculation-wise, it's a possibility. As we know, this service isn't coming out for a few years at least, because Mirage is going to be the last game that is its own thing rather than part of this live service. So after that game is when we're going to see the launch of the live service in a good few years. Maybe the technology is going to be there for them to be able to let you seamlessly switch between one Assassin's Creed game, another Assassin's Creed game, and it's like you're not even pausing it or exiting the game, you're just jumping in, you know? The main menu, even the pause menu, is this Infinity live service. Each game doesn't have a specific pause menu or main menu. This is it, and you can jump between different times of history, different characters, different stories. Now, I think this does sound cool, but at the same time, does it just sound really convoluted, really a lot more effort than it needs to be? Can't I just download a game and play it, and that's just a lot easier? easier. Maybe Infinity is going to make things a lot easier, but at this point, I don't know. Again, we're going to have to see footage of this, how it is executed before we can really make a judgment call on whether we think it's going to be good or bad. But my raw emotions, as I've been calling it in this little My Initial Thoughts series, is just that. I think it could be really convoluted and a little bit too much effort to jump between different games as this one big thing than it needs to be. Ubisoft could win me over when they show this Infinity service at some point, and I could think, you know what, this does make so much sense, and you know what, loads of games should be doing this. This is a revolutionary new thing. But right now, I'm just thinking, I can't be arsed, mate. I can't be bothered with that. Just give me a game, let me download it, let me play it as it is. I can't be bothered to be jumping into a live service, as they're calling it. And that might also be based off of my understanding that Ubisoft, in my opinion, at current time of filming, usually doesn't really innovate in the way they used to. They used to really innovate, like they were the first company to really revolutionize open world gaming in the way we see it today. And these days, they are usually just kind of copying what does well and putting it on their own brand, really, to profit off of others' innovations, others' success. That's my opinion. So for Ubisoft to create something new and innovative, to me, just sounds weird. Like, they're going to innovate, they're going to create something new we haven't seen before, and it's 2024 or whatever the year's going to be when it comes out. That just sounds weird to me and slightly unbelievable, but I am open to being wrong. I could be. Now, how many games do I think are going to come out for this? It's probably going to be 20, 30, maybe hundreds, who knows, because I think they will use this as an excuse to milk the series even more. Will that mean quality of the games go down even more? There's a chance, you know, if you fall into this, well, you know, this is this big live service that is meant to have quantity, then quality can potentially, even without them realizing, drop. I think this service will be a quantity over quality type thing. It's a live service. It's this big thing. We're always talking about it. We're always giving updates. We're always adding new stories and new games. All these different genres. Okay, I get that, but you are one company at the end of the day. And I know you have tons of different development studios, but do you have that many to release that many, you know? But maybe they'll take their time with it and they'll actually release games in a longer succession rather than quick succession and make them the best they can be. And maybe in 10, 15 years time, it will be this big thing where it starts out as a much smaller thing. But who's to say whether they'll start it out as a massive thing that is convoluted or they'll build it up like I just said. I think if you look at MMOs such as World of Warcraft, The Elder Scrolls Online, these are games that, yeah, they start out big, but they grow and they become way bigger and way more expansive than they originally were. So maybe Infinity is going to try and go for this route where it's a service that starts out pretty big, but it's going to get way bigger. It's going to get way more expansive. It's going to be upgraded, and it's going to be this long-term product we look at where we have these future predictions, these future plans and goals. I think that's probably quite likely. Again, whether it's done well or not is completely up to speculation and completely up to whether the public reacts in certain ways and whether they take certain directions. Things can change. Everything is in fluctuation, I suppose. But yeah, that's my overall thoughts on Infinity so far. I think it's exciting in the way that we're going to get multiple genres potentially, which means I won't have to play the pretend RPG games anymore. And if I don't like Hexe being this horror survival, then maybe I can just go and play these games they're releasing that are very similar to the older Assassin's Creed games that I personally prefer. So as I said, I get excited at the notion that we could get these older games and this could be a reason for them. So one side of the community can be happy and then the other side of the community that like the newer games can also be happy. As I always say, concept can be great, but execution might not be, and you have to execute a concept well for it to actually be and do well. But yeah, let me know, guys, in the comments your thoughts on this. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you have things to add to? Your general thoughts on Infinity as a whole. And going back to the beginning of the video, I did say if you did enjoy this video, then feel free to press that subscribe button. Well, it's the end of the video now, so I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. Regardless, I am appreciative that you did stick around. I love you guys. May the Father of Understanding guide us. I will see you soon. Goodbye.